It's a great day in SimWorld, everybody. Good morning and welcome to SimWorld Today. I'm B-Ron, and alongside me is my other new co-host, Marsh. Good morning, man. How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you doing?
Doing all right. I believe this is our first show we've actually ever done together in all of SimWorld history. It's our first show, so I'm very excited to have you on with me this morning.
Well, appreciate you having me, man. I'm looking forward to it. Should be a good run.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Let's jump right into it, though, shall we? Let's talk some SWFL because we had the NFC divisional game. One of the other ones happened the other day. Lions and the Bucks played each other. Lions ended up winning that game, Marsh, and they're going on to play the 49ers in the championship to decide who goes to the Super Bowl. Should the should they be concerned? Should San Fran be concerned about that at all, in your opinion?
N- No, they shouldn't. And it's not because the Lions aren't a good football team, because they are. I talked about it on the podcast yesterday. It's a really good football team. In fact, well coached, a lot of great pieces to it. But San Francisco has been the best team in the NFL since basically week 9, right? Right after that 3-game losing streak.
Right.
I think the reason that game against the Packers was close was twofold. The Packers were one of, if not the hottest teams in the NFL. And then you lose Debo Samuel, 6 plays into that thing? That
Mhm.
was the reason for that game being the way it was. If San Francisco, which they will, Kyle Shanahan has a full week to prepare to potentially get Debo back. If San
Right.
Francisco's healthy,
Exactly.
the Lions have been great, but San Francisco's still the better football team. I'm not saying it's an easy San Francisco win, but you shouldn't be overly concerned with Detroit just because you struggled against the Packers.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there. The Lions are great. I love the run that Jared Goff and them boys are on. The legend of Jared Goff continues to grow, and I'm here for that. I love that story. And while I would love to see the Lions win that game and go to the Super Bowl to play the Ravens, hopefully, I don't. I think San Fran is just they're too strong. They're too strong when healthy offensively for that to really matter in the grand scheme of things.
And look,
Personally,
Jordan Love was awesome. I mean,
oh
he
yeah,
did a lot of great things. He made a terrible decision late in that football game that ended up costing them. You
hmm
throw that away, you live to play another down, and you see what happens. But San Francisco, from top to bottom, has just been elite from the start. And again, Detroit has an exciting future. They've been an exciting team to watch, but San Francisco, at the end of the day, still has every single piece that you could possibly imagine that would be able to take advantage of the weaknesses of Detroit. I think you're going to see a huge day from Kittle. We saw Auten go off against them. Mike Evans was
hmm
was unstoppable in that secondary. I think you're going to see, if Debo's healthy, something similar. And then the running game gets rolling. It's just offensively, there's so many pieces, regardless of what you think of Brock Purdy, and he didn't look like an MVP caliber quarterback against Green Bay. It's a deep team, man, and it's a dangerous team.
Yeah, and I want to talk about Brock Purdy for a second too. You brought him up because I personally have never been too impressed with Purdy. I don't see what everybody else sees in Brock Purdy. I don't know about you, but I personally don't see it. I think he's fine as he is, and then nothing wrong with him being a game manager, if you will, because there's plenty of quarterbacks like that. I think that term gets a bad rap. But um, but I
That's
think
what he
that
is.
yeah, I think he's gonna need those other guys to help him out. He has those weapons. All those weapons, he wouldn't be in the position he's in, which isn't a bad thing. I'm just.
Look, if you were on either side of the Brock Purdy argument, you got your proof against Green Bay. He was awful for 3.5 quarters. He was really bad. And then at the end of that game, he turned it on when he needed to,
Mhm.
and they won the football game. And you can say, if you're a Brock Purdy hater, look, there's the proof. He was awful. They almost lost because of him. And if you're a Brock Purdy stan, you could say, look, there's the proof. He was awesome when they needed him to be. But you're right, Brock Purdy is who he is. And I think any good quarterback, any quarterback that's capable of understanding the concepts that Kyle Shanahan has, is going to be a really good quarterback. It's why they were able to get to the Super Bowl with Garoppolo, who
Yeah,
is,
Garoppolo,
I
yeah.
would say, is probably a step below what Purdy is. It's
Yeah.
so long as he just does what he needs to do and doesn't just miss guys, I think they're going to be fine. And again, the fact that they lose their best offensive weapon that doesn't have 3 letters that give them away, they are the best football team, and that offense is going to function so much better. So much of the game changes when you lose a guy like Deebo Samuel right off the bat, just because he impacts and changes every part of the way the defense is going to play you, but also you as an offense is going to make the play calls.
100% agree there. Let's switch gears to the other side of things, though. Let's talk about the AFC divisional game, the other one anyway, the Bills and the Chiefs. The snow delayed it for a little bit. I thought we were gonna see some snow on the field. It didn't end up happening. Ended up being just a cold night, real cold night up there in Buffalo. No snow to impact the game necessarily, but this one, I mean, this was a rough game for the Bills to kind of be in the spot that they were in with a chance to, win it late, tie it late, have neither of those things happen, and instead the Chiefs end up getting away with the win and advancing to play the Ravens in the AFC Championship game. So I feel like the Chiefs either A, they had their number, or B, this is the Bills' ceiling with this current team that they've had, because I think this is like the second or third time that they've had an opportunity to get past the Chiefs in the playoffs, and they haven't done it yet. So do you think
Look,
that this is their ceiling for them, or the Chiefs have the number? Like, which one do you think it is here?
I don't know that this is their ceiling, but this is what happens when you run into Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is Tom Brady reincarnated in terms of his inevitability, right? He's Thanos. He is inevitable. There's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
there's nothing that you could tell me. You walk into that game, and I said it again on top of my pod. I picked them. I bet on them. I thought they were going to win the football game, not because I thought for any strategical reason they were a better football team than Buffalo. Yes, Buffalo lost a ton. I mean, you look at from the beginning of this season, Buffalo was bleeding guys due to injury. That was
Mhm.
if you wanted to give a strategic example. But the fact of the matter is, even if Buffalo makes that field goal, the Chiefs, you can't tell me that the Chiefs aren't winning that football game, because guess what? Patrick Mahomes has two timeouts, under two to play. That's a gimme. He needed
Yeah.
13 seconds to do it against the same football team and pulled it off. Patrick Mahomes is the reason. I think Buffalo's a phenomenal football team. Stephon Diggs disappeared in that game. It's worth being concerned about if you're looking at Buffalo into the future. He had an awful second half of the season.
Mhm.
But I'm not sitting here if I'm a Buffalo fan and saying, fire McDermott, get a new
No.
coach, get a new quarterback, find a new defensive coordinator. No, I'm looking at this fan. We got beat by Patrick Mahomes, just like every other team in the NFL has done over the last 6 seasons. It's just that simple.
Yeah, no, I'm again, I'm right there with you, and I hate to say that as somebody whose team has to face Pat Mahomes, next weekend. Ravens are gonna play the Chiefs, so you go to the Super Bowl from the AFC. But yeah, I mean, Pat Mahomes is insane in every sense of the word. You mentioned the comparison to Tom Brady in terms of him being inevitable, and yeah, I it's one of the things where, because I remember when the Patriots were down to the Falcons, 23 in Super Bowl, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's over, it's over." I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not counting them out yet. I'm not counting them out yet. And just like Tom Brady, Pat Mahomes, I feel like I can't count the Chiefs out. And that game this coming Sunday is not going to be an easy one at all for the Ravens to go through. But I do think that we're getting the best matchup possible in terms of quarterbacks that you want to see. Lamar and Patrick going against each other. Honestly, I think that's going to be a really, really fun game. And I think those two have very similar styles of play in terms of, they can make things happen with their legs and their arm, also legs and feet, but their legs and their arms, But yeah, it's the Bills. I mean, like, they were bleeding guys, injury prone, injury riddled. I think they even lost Josh Allen at one point in that game,
I mean,
if
he had
memory
a cut
serves
on his
right.
hand. He had a cut on his hand, but I mean, if
Okay.
you're Buffalo, I'm not this might be the ceiling, not because they aren't talented enough. I mean, they've got a good second year running back in James Cook. They need to
Yeah.
find some way to find other weapons offensively, because Josh Allen just, Mike Davis was just like suddenly not even a factor. And 2 seasons ago, he was making or whatever, 2021, I guess, when he was the one that
Mhm.
had that touchdown catch that should have won the game before the 13 seconds that Mahomes needed to march down the field. But if I'm Buffalo, I'm concerned about my future, because if you look around the AFC, it's not getting any easier than it's
No, it's not.
already been, right? You've
Absolutely
got
not,
CJ
no.
Stroud, who is suddenly the top five. I mean, he's not, but he played like at times a top
Yeah.
five quarterback. He gets them there. Um, You look at the Jaguars, as much as I'm gonna be a homer for them, they weren't a great team at the end of the season, but they had a phenomenal quarterback, and there's still a
They're on the
piece in
come
that
up
that you
though.
have to believe in. I mean, yeah, they won 2 years ago. The Chargers could be a rebuilt team with Justin Herbert figuring stuff out. That's an
Mhm.
interdivision team. Antonio Pierce clearly has the respect of the Raiders locker room. If you look around the NFL, there's going to be quarterbacks available that could be good enough to make that team better. If you look at like a Gardner Minshew, who's going to be likely available because of Richardson coming back, the
Mhm.
AFC is not getting any easier for them. And so there's this certain sense of your title window doesn't close because you stop being good enough. Your title window
Right.
closes because the rest of the league catches up. And I think for
Yes.
Buffalo, that's the situation that they're in a little bit where they had this opportunity with this a top 5 quarterback in the league that they've missed on multiple times. Everything else is getting better. Everything else across the board, every other team in the AFC feels like they're finding the piece that they need at quarterback. And if you can't win it at home, which was obviously the Bills' complaint for the last 2 or 3 seasons, well, if we got Kansas City at home, we take care. You had it, and you didn't
Yeah.
get it done.
You didn't do
That's
it.
where I'd be concerned that you're still Josh Allen's going to be good enough, man. But if the rest of the AFC keeps getting better, particularly at the top, then your window's closing.
Absolutely agree 100% with you there. They're gonna have a rough time. But speaking of having a rough time, tomorrow night, Cascadia versus Gulf Coast at 9 p.m. here on SimWorld TV in SimWorld Prep action. This is gonna be a rough time for both these teams because they have to guard Kai Killens and Kevon Jackson. And these two kids are tearing it up. Kai Killens, a newcomer to SimWorld Prep, yeah, has really cemented himself as one of the top new players to watch for Gulf Coast. And Kevon Jackson, coming over from Reading Trays, looking to prove that he's someone without Javette talent. He's proven that, which I think we all kind of expect that to happen, no matter where it was going to be. But then you have, again, the overall team matchup of Cascadia versus Gulf Coast. Um, which of those two matchups is the more intriguing? Is it the team matchup or is it the individual matchup between Kai and Kevon?
I think it's how do you slow down the rest of Cascadia? I wrote about it on Sunday. This team
Yes.
is super deep. They rely heavily on their stars. Coach Pope has been doing a phenomenal job. I think he's deserving of a serious mention in the conversation of the best coach in SimWorld Prep. But Kai Killens, I've been high on him. Kevon Jackson has been phenomenal. Those two guys are going to put on a show, but I think the deciding factor in this is how do you contain the rest of the Cascadia lineup? I don't know if Gulf Coast has that. I'm not saying they don't, but they haven't proven that type of depth just yet.
Yeah, that's you're exactly right. And we're gonna agree again. It's three in a row. We're batting, batting 1,000 today, man. It's good. But no, they have so much talent at the top and in through their bench too that they're so difficult to stop. I think me and Rick talked about it yesterday. Uh, Q Dozier, Tyree Wells, Jetson Halliday. There's so much talent on that team. How do you stop them? You got to figure it out. Good luck to Coach Heesh. I think this is his first one of his first real tests going up against one of the top teams in summer prep right now. Marsh.
Yeah, they've done a great job. They've lived up to the expectations that the lofty ones that he put on them.
Yep.
Uh, Credit to them for doing that. But you're right. They've passed a couple of tests, right? They beat SimWorld Europe, who might be a question mark now. They've won some big games, but this is the best one that they're going to face. It doesn't decide who's going to be the champion, obviously, but I think it decides early on who's the favorite.
Yeah, most definitely agree. Most definitely agree. Well, look, Marsh, we had a lot of fun today. Thank you for joining me on SimWorld today. I appreciate you as always, and to all of you, watching and listening. Remember, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notify bell so you can get notified when all of our videos, all of our shows, all of our live streams go up on the channel. And remember, SimWorld is the only place where you can see the game, be the game. We'll see you tomorrow.
This has been a presentation of SimWorld